Welcome, Gemini rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 20th of May until the 26th of May. Gemini rising sign, this is a very important week. And the reason being is because every single personal planets are going to be triggering the nodal axis in your chart. And the nodes are in your fourth and 10th house. So it feels like you're going to have to make a choice, choosing between your privacy as well as your career. We are stepping right onto this massive karmic tripwire. The nodes of fate are very much sitting at the final degrees of the sign. And it is the fact that all the personal planets from your first house squaring the nodes, it really indicates that maybe it's a massive milestone that you have reached, but you don't know what to do. And this is where with Gemini, often we're going to have to be able to make a decision. It's like feeling torn between building your empire and stabilizing your private roots. Then don't worry, you are actually right on schedule because the real headline this week is your ruler. Mercury going completely rogue, it's going out of bounds. It is making alignments with the rest of the planets as well. So this might be when you are going to be able to see clearly what exactly you want to do. Maybe you are going to be making a mistake because an out-of-bound Mercury might not be considering every single aspect of life, but it just wants to break out and it wants to choose freedom. But let's break it down. We kick off the week on May 20th with quite a highly supportive grounding alignment. Mars is in Taurus, 12th house, sextile Venus in your second house. So, Venus in your second house, the house of money, values, and self-worth, bringing that financial favor and a deep sense of security. Yes, Venus might want to be spending a bit of money, for example, here. It wants to be, especially spending money on joy or beautiful things, experiences, for a couple of reasons. Venus is actually the ruler of your fifth house, and it is getting closer and closer to Jupiter, which actually can represent experiences. But Mars is in your 12th house, gives you that steady, stubborn drive to build something up behind the scenes. It is kind of like handling backstage preparations. So actually, this is an incredible day to secretly restructure your business pricing, organizing the financial documents, for example. It's about doing something that is going to be increasing your self-worth as well. Because Venus, when it's in the first part or in the first quadrant of your chart, it is often about self-worth. And it's kind of like we have to be able to fall in love all over again with something. But potentially, this could also indicate that you have got a creative project that you want to invest into, and then you are kind of like looking for ways of backing it up financially. That's why Mars might be working away from the public eye. Now, May 22nd is the busiest day of the week. We have got five aspects going on. So that Venus is making a trine to your north node, and therefore a sextile to your south node as well. That's a bit of a karmic green light for your professional life. Maybe you get a financial reward, you get a bit of a bonus, you get a fated opportunity to step into a leadership role, which might be coming up with pay rise or bonuses and stuff like that. Or simply you just get a bit of a public confirmation that the job that you do is actually mega great, and that is boosting your self-worth. Now, Mercury in Gemini makes a sextile to Saturn. I think Mercury gives you that razor sharp, disciplined mind. You Mercury is the ruler of your chart. So Mercury is ready to choose the self, really. And Saturn is trying to stabilize your 11th house, the house of networks and long-term goals. So this is actually a perfect one, perfect aspect to pitch your individual brand, um, to kind of make something a little bit like a brand, for example, to make it global. Or you can make an agreement with organizations, companies. Let's say you want to be talking about pay rise, you want to be pitching an idea to a company, to a friend of yours. And then eventually we can make that ironclad agreement as well around it. But also, if you want to be setting boundaries, for example, with a friend of yours, then this is great. Mercury Saturn often is about tough conversation. And maybe I want to be sharing the feelings of mine with others as well, or I want them to stop doing something because maybe it's annoying. But the sextile helps this go smooth and then it doesn't end up as an argument. Now, the Sun and Uranus very first conjunction after 8 decades of not experiencing this is happening right in your first house. So this is a lightning bolt to your identity. So you expect a sudden shocking breakthrough. Maybe you change your style radically. Maybe you change your personal brand completely. Maybe you have got this unexpected realization that completely liberates you from an old version of yourself. Now, Venus is squaring Neptune. So, Neptune is in your 11th house, and it happens on the same day, again, 22nd, when Mercury actually goes out of bound as well. And this is where, it's a bit of a warning here regarding collaborations, online investments. This is not a day when we do need to do shopping online or when we need to be giving money to groups or a friend of yours, for example. You can be idealizing, for example, a group's financial potential, a friend of yours, falling for the utopian community project that is actually completely disorganized behind the scenes and so forth. So this is not necessarily a day when to invest into an alliance, group venture. That fog is incredibly thick here, and we just need to wait a few days to lift up. And that's going to be happening once the sun is going to be making a sextile to Neptune on the 24th. Now, Mercury is going out of bound also in your first house, so your brain is operating completely off the grid. I think your thoughts, your words, your videos, for example, are going to be more wild, brilliant, completely unfiltered. You are ready to share who you are. You have zero tolerance for social niceties, and this is giving you a lot of mental energy to innovate your entire brand. But make sure your radical truth doesn't accidentally burn a bridge you actually need. Because Mercury goes out of bound on a 12 degree. So it just came out of a sextile with Saturn. So we might have made certain type of alliances there, formal connections and so on. And then we can start burning up the bridges once Mercury goes out of bound. Like I said, the sun in your first house makes that sextile to Neptune. So that's lifting up the social fog, allowing you to see exactly which alliances are genuinely aligned with your vision, who wants to screw you over, and then who is actually a support in your life. But the sun is actually squaring the nodes as well at the same time, while Mars makes a sextile to North Node, therefore a trine to South Node as well. So this is the crossroad here. The South Node in your fourth house has made you overly reliant on micromanaging your home life, creating that perfect family, stressing over family logistics, hiding in your private shell out of the need for safety, of course. But the sun in your first house is demanding you stand tall, you occupy the spotlight, and you project your individual power onto the world. It somehow teaches you the lesson here is that you cannot let domestic matters, family obligation, stall your ultimate public destiny, or the growth in your career. Mars in your 12th house is helping you by trining the South Node, meaning your behind the scenes strategy and psychological endurance are working perfectly now, because that's exactly what Mars in Taurus in the 12th house wants: psychological resilience. If others are trying to kind of manipulate us a little bit, crying, within the family, then Mars kind of detects that this BS. It's about private strength that Mars is working on, so it finally can break out of this shell. And then finally, we can use that strength to step into that 10th house North Node path, which is about your ultimate career legacy, public visibility, career growth. It's very much about stepping out of the house and then stepping onto a stage. Made that infamous Mars, right? A day later, it's going to be forming a square to Pluto. And therefore, the 26th of May is most likely the most volatile day of the entire week. That's quite a heavy confrontation with power dynamics from the deepest parts of your chart. So that's the inner demons, that's the inner fears that are blocking you from achieving your dreams. It is actually an invitation to dare dreaming, but at the same time, we are super comfortable with that as well. This is a clash between your subconscious fears or hidden enemies and your long distance expansion, legalities, your belief system. It can feel like that you might be thinking that I'm not worthy enough to think this way and that way. It might be a bit of an internal crisis where your own self-sabotage, your hidden resentments, try to block a publishing program, a teaching, a relocation plan, for example. Or alternatively, a legal matter, a disagreement could trigger quite an immense wave of hidden stresses. Thankfully, the sun in your first house trines Pluto on the exact day, so that escape hatch is your authentic voice. Don't get dragged into a silent, passive-aggressive psychological warfare. That's Mars Pluto. Instead, use the sun in the first house, which is your visibility. Speak your truth with absolute individual power. Your power lies in your direct communication and high level worldviews. It's an invitation that I need to start viewing myself completely differently. I cannot just look at my inner saboteur. I need to be that person who started evolving during the conjunction of Sun and Uranus. Now, Venus in that second house makes a square to Pallas Athene, and that's also on the same day. So your personal financial goals are clashing with the strategy of your long-term goals, a group move, the network's demands. So it's kind of like you have to be balancing your pockets with some tactical boundaries of your social association. I mean, imagine that you are invited to a social event which might be costly, for example, and we have to budget it out. We've got a desire to go, but potentially we are still worried about finances. Um, Then the sun makes a sextile to Vesta in the 11th house as well. And that's about dedicating your physical presence. Your personal message is being shared with the public. This is when you can start sharing your goals with others as well, or this is when you kind of act on a humanitarian mission. This is a sacred focus within your social network. Maybe you are ready to become visible. You are ready to kind of put on a performance, for example. It's very inspiring. I'm dedicating myself to the transmission of truth as well. This grounds your identity perfectly. This is about, yes, I'm gonna choose myself. Um, Gemini rising this entire week is an initiation for um, a personal autonomy. Every single aspect, from that unexpected personal shock of that Sun-Uranus conjunction to that intense subconscious battles of Mars and Pluto square, are showing you exactly where you're letting family dynamics or social overthinking compromise that genius that lives within you. And the universe is demanding that you clear the clutter of your past and step fully into that uh, destiny of yours. Because next month, Uranus is going to square your nodal axis and create a massive sudden disruption in your identity and career sector. And if you do that raw internal sorting now, June actually can bring you spectacular personal breakthroughs. But the secret here is that this week you're going to have to start doing the work. So, Gemini, I think you have got that nudging feeling this week that, it's kind of like a secret desire to start acting on something. You feel a bit itchy. And most likely this is about you wanting to make a business lucrative, for example, or you just want to be earning more money. That's the bottom line. Or you want to be doing something that gives you more satisfaction, more can give you more security. Venus, that's the Venus Mars sextile. But at the same time, Venus is squaring Neptune. So this is about you either allow others to undermine your talents, or you are undermining yourself, or you are kind of like sacrificing your values, your own money for group ideas. It's about who is lying to who. Are you allowing people to lie to you, or are you actually lying to yourself? But then that Venus makes that trine to North Node, which is gorgeous. It gives you a new career opportunity. It is allowing you to tap into, to see your potential destiny a little bit. It is allowing you to do a career shift. It is allowing you to earn more money through your career. You just need to be careful of not allowing that fog to thicken up and then not necessarily seeing the results, for example, of your work. And also, something can be super exciting, but how much sacrifice do I have to make? Now, when we follow the journey of Mercury, Mercury started squaring the nodes last week, right? And then it went through the same stuff. So Mercury started the sextile to Neptune and Vesta and all those type of stuff. So with you might have been caught up, with the past and the tendency to worry about your parents and then how I'm gonna feed the family and all those type of stuff. But now Mercury going out of bound is ready to go after that future. It's ready to make that choice that I'm going to be choosing my individuality. I'm ready to make my dreams come true. I'm ready to talk about it. And that's the Mercury Pluto trine, for example. That's the Mercury and Saturn sextile. Um, yeah, there are certain type of belief systems that you have to potentially rewrite. Or yes, there is a reminder that you're gonna have to be making your choices ethically, which might be considering the needs of others, and there is no problem with that. I think Mars trining your South Node is really helping you to be able to cut the past out of your life finally. And those are related to fears and or those inner saboteurs. Just really watch out for that lot of out of bound energy and the Sun Uranus conjunction as well this week, which can make you very rebellious, very impatient. People can start seeing an unexpected side of yours, something that they haven't seen yet. And of course, it's very easy to get into certain type of power struggles and arguments, which is your Mars and Pluto square. So good luck, Gemini rising. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.